Thank you very much for coming through here, man. It's good to see you.
It's always good to see you.
Oh, man, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah. You look good.
I try.
I like the jacket. It's
I said, you know, put on
the
something
whole
bright
fit.
for you. Give you some denim and some yellow.
Yeah, and I got a little yellow going on.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Look at that. Cheers to you, man.
Cheers. Tehsuan, how did we meet? Do you remember that?
I don't remember exactly how we met.
Me neither.
I feel like through Kitab, maybe. Most likely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like you just always have just been around.
Yeah. But like, I don't know that there's anybody else that you and I have in common that we hung around before Kitab. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I would say it's Kitab if it was
Okay.
anybody, you know,
Okay.
outside of just being around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know where we were. I don't know what the context was, you know?
Me neither. I feel like it's been a long time though.
Yeah. There's also like you had your run in Newark that predates me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like Isaam was Isaam already.
I was Isaaming all over
You know what I
Newark
mean? Yeah.
from the rumors of the street about what I was doing in Newark, but yeah.
But even like just your like, you know, the media stuff you were doing, like you've been in this game, you've been doing this for a while. It's documented.
Yeah.
You know, so there was that as well. But yeah, I don't know where exactly. I tend not to know the answer to that question to people who I remain friends with.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Because I think I remember exactly when I met Baif. I told him.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was a very specific situation how I was introduced to him. But
Yeah.
yours wasn't as specific.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So this conversation is something that has been such a treat for me to have, to listen to and participate in. So the idea of like, what is your self-perception? What is your identity? And what has it looked like over the course of your life? Like, because I believe that when you meet Tehsuan, when I meet Isaam, we're meeting an expression of this subconscious idea that we each individually hold of ourselves. And that idea that we hold dictates where we choose to live, what we do for work, who we choose to be in relationship with, who we choose to no longer be in relationship with. Like all those things, all those other relationships are an extension of, or in some way a reflection of, the relationship we have with our own identity to ourselves. So that's always present, but it's not articulated. We don't have the conversation about who is Isaam to Isaam. You know what I mean? Like I've never had this conversation just among my friends outside of this platform. Like this is the place where it's like, oh, I'm gonna have this conversation every time, you know? And it's always been so enriching and enlightening. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it goes back to, you know, toddler you, adolescent you, like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I feel like that's a question that most people either aren't prepared to answer because they're still figuring it out, or don't really hold, I hate that expression, hold space, but they don't really hold space in their lives to even go there with themselves or the people around them.
Right.
So anytime anyone does go there with me, one thing I love is questions. I love introspection. I love self-awareness. I love all those things. Because I hate to say an only child, because I wasn't an only child.
I got you.
But I was raised in a home by myself. And so I think as a kid, I was paying attention to everything around me.
Right.
And in doing that, I think I noticed what expectations were of me, who I should be, who I shouldn't be, at a very early age. And so it dictated how much of myself I let out.
Right.
So I think in most spaces, I was very introverted and probably not a naturally introverted kid.
Right.
Because I see pictures of me as a kid at house parties, and I'm like, I'm all over the place. You know, they the way my family would paint me as a kid, they're like, you had a lot of personality.
Right.
But then I would go to school, and amongst my peers, I would cower. I was more quiet until I found a space amongst someone I felt comfortable with to really let it out. And so I've been trying to figure out who I am to me since I've been a child. And so a lot of times having conversations like that with other people, they haven't started asking themselves who they are to themselves until much later in life. And so, not that it makes it hard to have that conversation with some people, because I think some thoughts and ideas come when they need to. But a lot of times I'll be like, you just thinking about that?
Right. Yeah.
You ain't think about who you are yet?
Yeah.
Or what your contribution is, or you know, how you show up in the world, or how you look to other people. Like, I think for a long time I was very concerned about how I looked to other people. And I didn't really get a chance to really sit in how I look to myself. So, you know, that was just a
but this is it. This is the conversation. It's like, you know, because it all develops for us when and how it does. And to your point, to some people, it hasn't.
No.
It hasn't come up by circumstance or choice, you know. But to have this understanding for yourself that you have been observing yourself along the way. And you have been paying attention to what you've seen as well as what you've experienced from inside, you know what I mean? But the outside observation of self is like, is such a powerful consciousness to have, particularly in the moment, right? Like, it's fortunate that we have it looking back. It's a superpower in the moment.
It's so funny that you say this is the word that just the superpower of just the word, right? Because I think I'm writing a book.
Yes.
And so I have been in the last 2 years, I've been very self-reflective and thinking about things that I usually only said to myself. But now I'm saying it out loud, and then it's opening up even more. And so I talked about how lonely or isolated I felt as a kid, and me as an adult realizing how much of a superpower that was for me, that I would be comfortable in my own space and not need to latch on to anyone for anything. Right? I didn't need to hold on to you because I feared being alone. That meant that I wasn't just loving anyone. You know, I was loving myself and being comfortable in that. And it took me, like, honestly, this year. And we're only weeks in for me to go, damn, that is a superpower. And I didn't know. I mean, you always hear that life is preparing you for life, but I didn't realize then that it was preparing me to be so comfortable in my own space, in my own skin.
I didn't even have this idea in mind of life is preparing you for life as succinctly as it's been in the past, like, year or 2 years.
Listen, when some shit starts happening, some things, when the rug gets pulled underneath you and you gotta try to find your balance, you start figuring out and realizing shit that's already been in place to, like, support you.
And you realize you're not spiraling into oblivion. Like, no, I'm actually standing up. I'm not falling. You know what I mean?
And if I fall, I was always concerned about, I have a fear of falling. Like, it's one of my things, right? It's not heights per se, but the fear of falling to my death. But I think in the last 3 years with experiencing loss and grieving, like, really instrumental people in my life, me surviving their passing and knowing that I could fall and I would still be okay, kind of like changed my mind. Where, like, now I'm like, oh shit, I thought my life was gonna be over. I thought it was everything was gonna be destroyed. Would not be able to breathe. And I'm breathing.
Burned to ashes.
The fear of it all just kind of like went away, and it took me somewhere else. And how I looked at life, how I looked at what I'm supposed to be doing.
And it's like you said, this is really just a lesson for whatever's coming next. You know, because if you have a life that is fortunate enough that you have things to lose, loss is inevitable. You know, that's just it's a part of life up until you are the thing that gets lost. And then your people are going to have to deal with that lesson, so to speak. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like it's a part of the the maturation in my experience that literally nobody told me about. Like nobody told me that not only that I would deal with this type of loss this way and what the dealing with it looks like. Like we've heard, the concept isn't foreign, but the experience is, and whether it's a friend, a parent, a mate, whatever it is. For some people, it's a job. For some people, it's their home. It's a lot of different things to grieve in life. For some people, it's the person that they were. And it's like, sorry, bro, you just gonna be Milli Vanilli for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Whatever your current talent is.
Yeah.
You just gonna be the lip syncer. And it's like, some people gotta grieve those things. And I was never prepared for the experience, of what my biggest losses or, rug swept up from under me, what they were. But I was also never informed of how confirming the experience of realizing that I didn't spiral into oblivion, realize that I am okay, realizing and why I'm okay. Yeah. Realizing that it's like, oh, I'm okay because I do have this and I do have this and I am this and I am that. You know what I mean? That's who I am as a person. I am naturally optimistic and positive.
Me too.
You know what I mean? And so it's not even a thing that I gotta go get.
Right.
It's not anything I gotta go access. It's like, oh, that's with me. Even before I articulate it, it's already there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's been so powerful to me. I remember as a young person, young adolescent, realizing that I had capacity to be charming. And charming.
How? Who told you was charming?
I knew I was charming because, and I'm saying 10, 11, 12. Charming in that I was interesting and I could communicate who I was and what I was into. And the way I expressed it and communicated it had a magnetism to it. It was attractive. It was attractive to people who were older than me, not just my parents applauding for their little Tehsuan, but other older people who gave me their attention. There was evidence to me oh, there's something in me because they're way cooler than me.
Yeah.
And they got stuff to do and they got bills.
And you were that young.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I can only pray for that for future children to recognize it early, because I think there's a certain power in realizing your charm. It gets you far in life.
Yeah.
It gets you very far in life. I didn't recognize my charm for many reasons, right? I think I was the kind of kid who I was very active. I was doing commercials and film. Yeah. When I wasn't doing that, I was winning art contests or being the student of the month. And I was I was doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And none of those accomplishments came without conflict amongst my peers.
Okay.
So it made me dim a light that, unfortunately I was trying to dim it before other people could. And so me recognizing any kind of charm that I had wouldn't have been explored within myself until much later in life.
Right.
That after you hear enough people go, everybody likes you.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like you? Everyone loves Isaam. And I'm like, At one point, I heard it as a negative.
Yeah.
But then I had to go, yeah, a lot of people do like me.
Right.
Because I'm genuine.
Yeah.
And I listen.
Yeah.
I talk to people.
Yeah.
I think when people can feel appreciated with someone, or like someone is actually listening to them,
Yep.
they start liking them.
Yeah.
And you got a twinkle in your eye,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
smile,
yeah.
You show concern. It's easy to be charming if you really just sit in it.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't realize that till much later.
Yeah.
And for some people, it is a game.
Yeah.
Who they choose to charm, right?
Yeah.
And some people are very selective of who they want to charm. Some people want to charm people's pants off.
Right.
I just want people to feel seen and heard.
Yeah.
And appreciated in a way that I think as a younger kid,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's another aspect of, like, to your point, when you realize that you do have people's attention and affection and adoration and interest, you realize, especially by way of people who give you that sarcastic, snarky comment,
Right.
but it does make it evident, like, oh, everybody don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Everybody don't feel okay being themselves. You know what I mean? In whatever, to whatever degree, right? And so I think for some people, not for everybody, but for some people, you become a host, you become a caretaker, you become the person who looks out for other people, and
That's a lot in itself.
yeah. But don't it make you more charming?
I think at one point I realized that I'm a giver, right? So I give of myself.
Yeah.
At one point, I think I gave and had nothing left. Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of like retreat from being that host
De
with
facto,
the most and, bouncing off the walls, giving love left and right, and giving it freely.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't even always deserved. And I stopped giving away my charm.
Yeah.
I stopped giving it away. Now you got to earn this charm.
But then, because you
Unless you're a
realize,
stranger. Then if you're a stranger, you get the grace of, here's my charm.
Yes.
Do what you want with it.
Yes.
Now, if you do something fucked up with it, you will no longer get this charm.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Because that's the other part of maturing that for some people comes early, fortunately. For some people comes later. It's fortunate that it comes at all. But it's like knowing that you pour from a full cup. Even of the things that come natural to you, it doesn't come from little. It doesn't come from nothing. It comes from fullness. And if you somebody who's just going to rob me of the things I'm giving, well, you can't have them no more.
Yeah. And I don't have a shot glass of a cup.
Right.
I got a fucking pitcher
Yes.
of a cup.
Yes.
That there's a lot of it to give.
Yeah.
And so, I think when I've learned of the people, like knowing to decipher between who deserves it or not, they get poured on so heavily.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot there. And there's always more left for me.
Right.
And that's the thing. When you're giving it to the wrong person, they usually will try to suck every drop of it
Yeah.
for their own personal gain.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you have nothing left.
Yep.
So
Check this out. I remember up until high school, I would say, I could sing really well.
you can sing?
Up until
You
high
told
school.
me that.
Yeah.
And what changed? Puberty?
My voice, yeah. Right?
So you don't sing no more.
I can't sing as well as I could sing then.
So you can sing something.
I could sing something.
Can you sing something?
2.5 seconds.
Can you sing?
Fair Eastside. No.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to sing right now.
I'm sure they would love to hear you sing a song and not read. Well, you
2.5
do it in your
seconds.
poems.
There you go.
Insert poem.
Insert poem
Right,
here.
okay.
Right. But I remember through puberty and my voice changing, and I don't have that talent anymore. And because it was something I was known for.
Oh, you were known for it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I'm coming up at the time of Boyz II Men and Jodeci and all this. Is like, oh man.
Okay.
And like, school, it's like, that's just easy work. You know what I mean? But once I lose the talent, I lose the identity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Tehsuan with the voice. You know what I mean? Was there anything for you that was at one point your identity and then it was no longer your identity that you had to like
Well, I
deal
think
with?
you ever had somebody say to you, what is their identifier when they're trying to remember who someone is?
Yeah.
I think other people had identifiers for me.
Okay.
While I was comfortable in letting the arts and education be how I identified myself, it was more about trying to accomplish something in that.
Yeah.
Despite the negative ways people were trying to identify me.
Okay.
But there was never a point where I lost that identity and I said, who am I without that?
Okay.
I think if anything, I attempted to shift what my identity was to try to explore other parts of myself I hadn't given myself permission to explore, because I was always doing art, always, school, this, that, or like even like sexually as a young adult, not being sexual was a part of who I was, and I just thought I was doing something. I'm not having sex with nobody. And then there was a point where I was like, well, maybe you might want to give yourself permission to explore who you are, because now you have no idea who you are outside of that. And then when you find your partner, y'all gonna be looking at each other like,
Right.
what you gonna do? I don't know what you gonna do. I don't know. I don't even know what I like.
Right.
So I think I was always exploring the different parts of who I was.
Yeah.
Because, as a kid, I was the gay boy from New Jack City. Mm-hmm. That was how I was being identified.
Yeah.
I literally would hear people say, the gay boy from New Jack City.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was fine with the New Jack City part, because when I was young, I was in New Jack City.
Yeah.
For 2 seconds. But the gay part was how some people would identify me behind my back.
Okay.
But I knew it. I heard it. And so I'm like, well, I don't know how that's going to change. That's just, if that's how they see me, it ain't like they fucking me. It ain't like they know. It ain't like they caught me in the locker room getting yacked.
Yeah.
They just knew that I was soft.
Right.
Or feminine. Or whatever they thought. I always thought that I looked like a little soft stud as a kid.
First of all, I've never even heard of a soft stud before.
A soft stud?
Yeah.
So it's not as a stud in the sense that I was like a boy, because studs are like boys. Yeah. But I was like a soft stud who was still feminine in ways, but they presented as male, but kind of non-binary in a way. To me, I had hair, I had a little slope, I had a little ducktail. I definitely had man boobs because I was a chunky kid. So one time I was in Murray Steak. Remember Murray Steak?
Yeah.
I'm in Murray Steak with my cousin running an errand for her grandmother. I'm outside waiting for her to get this damn steak. And the guy in line is like, yo, hook me up with your girl. And she was like, what girl? Who? He was like, your girl outside. She said, that's a boy.
Wow.
And she came out, this Murray Steak, on the floor laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? She was like, he thought you was a girl. And I was like, do I look like a girl? Do I look like a girl? Like, I think those are ideas, identifiers that as I got older, I tried to fight against.
Right.
And so I was very uncomfortable with those parts of myself that appeared to be soft or appeared to be feminine. And I didn't allow myself to explore those parts of myself because it just came with such a negative connotation to it and just made me feel less about myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't until much later in life that I was just like, I need to explore and accept all parts of myself.
Yeah.
Because just like a gay person, straight people, male and female, have both masculine and feminine qualities.
Right.
We're human.
Right.
That's just what life is.
Right.
I don't know why it has to be owned by one specific gender, but it doesn't. And I don't think I was as gay as they painted me up to be. But even if I was, so be it.
Right.
That was my So that was my identifier that, I didn't have to let go of it because it was who I was.
Right.
The art stuff, I just explored other things, and I'm sorry. I never wanted to be limited to any one thing. I always wanted to try and explore everything.
Yeah.
And see what I could do and how far I could push myself.
Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this. Remove anything that has anything to do with work. Anything that you call work.
Okay.
What are you good at?
I'm only laughing because I think of Whitney Houston when I think she said that she was good at making love.
Really?
I wouldn't
In
say
an interview?
In an interview. And she said,
Oh, Whitney.
removing work, what am I good at?
Yeah.
I think I'm really good at communicating.
Okay.
I can talk to anyone, any walk of life. I feel I can connect. Like one of my skills, I believe I can connect to anyone.
Okay.
I can find a humanity in anyone. I think at the core of who I am, just a good person who just wants to love and be loved. And so when I think about what I'm good at, I think my best quality is my communication skills.
Okay. Okay.
I think
That's dope.
there's probably somebody watching like, that's what you think? Terrible at communicating. No, I think I'm great.
Yeah, yeah. And how has that served you over time?
It's allowed for me to make really, really strong connections and relationships with people.
Yeah.
I think that even when I walk out of certain rooms, what I have left behind has... I've left a good impression with people that even when I'm not there, they think of how I made them feel.
Got you.
And I find pride in being a good person because not too many people care about being good people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want to be nice to them? Like,
Right.
or if someone does something really shitty, I know my friends sometimes get really, really tired of me. I always try to flip the perspective.
Got you.
And I hate to quote Iyanla, but I have to.
Okay.
But I have took something away from her going, think higher.
Yeah.
Think better of people.
Yeah.
Maybe how you're seeing it, it could be that.
Right.
But what if it's not? What is the
Yeah.
other way to look at it that doesn't make you a victim?
Right.
And doesn't make them an asshole?
A villain. Right.
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 So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about that recently. Like because, it's so common in certain areas of society, the idea that the world needs to change. Not me, but the world.
Right.
Right. Everything else. Right. Or wherever the change is elsewhere. And it's like, if you change, everything changes. And the cheat code to change is, or a cheat code for change, a 3-part cheat code to change. Empathy, curiosity, and what's the third one? I tweeted about this the other day
Really?
too. Yeah.
I mean, but talk about empathy because a lot of people don't know how to show empathy, and I think there's lots of reasons why people don't. But some people really, really lack that quality.
Yeah, and a lot of people conflate empathy with a self-satisfying projection of like putting themselves in another person's shoes. That's not empathy.
Right.
You don't get to be in the picture for empathy. It's the other person. They're the picture. You know what I mean? It's like you don't feel what they feel. Don't puff yourself up to think that. That's not what it is. The empathy is, first of all, empathy is humbling.
Ain't it?
If you're truly empathizing, you are humbled by the experience of empathy because you weren't thinking this way. You weren't feeling this way. You didn't see it this way. You weren't taking into consideration these experiences and these factors and these backstories. And so just to dip your toe into that is humbling. The other thing is empathy is enlightening. Because what you discover is true. Even if it's not your truth, it's true. And you have to receive it and accept it as truth. And as you do that, you are enlightened. You are truly enlightened. Like that's what enlightenment is, right? So whether it's somebody else's preferences, choice, insecurities, addictions, successes, like whatever, it's like the idea that like the rich have a better life. It's like you don't, first of all, if you're saying that as a poor person, then you're simplifying what it means to be rich. And you're simplifying what humanity is by way of like resources. Like that's, humanity and resources don't go neck and neck. You know what I mean? It's not because you got more money that life is better, you know? But to truly empathize with rich people, you can understand why they might be lonelier than you are. Because ain't nobody asking you for money every time they see you.
Right.
I mean, you can empathize with rich people for having more anxiety around their lifestyle. Because it's hard to maintain a 6-7 figure lifestyle, 8-figure lifestyle. Shit is not set up for you up in those echelons and areas as it is for people.
But people just aren't really exposed to a lot.
Right.
And if they are, they're not really paying attention or looking at it in that context to like really understand or have an understanding of what someone else's life could be like.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, as I was a kid, all I did was pay attention to everything everyone was doing.
Yeah.
I was so fascinated about other people's lives.
Right.
And I would think of, I wonder what their life is like.
Yeah.
Or I wonder, like, even like some celebrities that I know, I observe how people respond and react around them, or what their expectation of them is, or what they want from them, what they can get from them. That I think has always is I know I've been affected by that. Because I've seen it firsthand where I'm like, damn, everybody asking you for something. I never want to be the person to ask you for something. But then a wise woman once told me, I had a teacher who was going to the Soul Train Awards. Oh, this was a big deal to me. I watched every award show. I recorded it. I looked forward to seeing everybody in the audience that you wouldn't even pay attention to. I would be like, oh my God, did you see?
Yeah.
I don't know, Jimmy Walker in the audience. It's just dumb shit.
Right.
I loved it. And I knew that this particular year, Janet Jackson was going to be awarded. And I was like, you're going to the award show? Oh my God, that's so amazing. Now, I sat and watched everyone come into her classroom and ask her for everything, and the toilet and the sink. They asked her for everything. And I said, I don't want to be another person asking her for anything. So she went to the award show. She enjoyed it. She came back and she shared all the stories. She showed me pictures. Everything was great. And I said, oh my God, I wanted to ask you if I could go so bad. She was like, you know what, Isaam? I was waiting for you to ask me. Because I want to teach you a lesson. If you want something, ask for it.
Yeah.
You can ask for it. No one had ever given, like, you know, like when you're a kid and you asking for everything. You're like, don't be asking me for nothing. Right. I was one of those kids who was like, I didn't know I had permission to ask for the things that I needed or wanted. And that stayed with me for years, even in my romantic relationships. I didn't know how to ask for what I wanted. Now I'm just like, I hear her. 'Cause she passed, that teacher passed in 2020.
Okay.
And I hear those jewels in my head all the time, like, boy, better ask what you want. Better ask what you want. Whatever that is, put it to the side. You have something that you need.
Right.
They may be able to help. All they could do is say no.
Right.
And they'll know that you're not always asking for shit from them.
Yeah.
And they'll realize that you're not one of those other people who are trying to use them.
Right.
Ask when it's right too.
Yeah.
Because there have been opportunities that I'm like, this ain't the one to ask for.
Yeah.
I'm a hold back on this one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be when I need Tehsuan.
Right.
I'm gonna ask him when it's the VMAs and not some shit on Halsey Street. I'm gonna ask when it's the real thing that I need your help with. Because you just gotta. Some people don't even know how to decipher that. They just ask for everything, and now you just tired of giving.
Yeah. And like, in my experience, I'll say, when it comes to being asked, the yeses and the nos are so easy and fast. I know when it's a yes, and it's yes.
Well, what do you say no to?
And I know when it's a no, and it's no.
What do you say? What makes you say no?
Somebody reached out to me today. Okay.
Right.
So my homegirl reaches out to me today, right? This is my homegirl who like found a new boo, and I ain't heard from her since. I don't know how long it's been now.
Homegirl?
Homegirl. It's my homegirl.
Just buddy.
Just buddy.
Okay.
Right? Just my homegirl. That's it. And
just clarifying, just in case you watch it.
yeah. It's just, but you know, she done found somebody and literally radio silent, dead. And it's like, all right, well, you know, live your life. Hopefully, you know,
in love. She's in honeymoon.
God bless.
Okay.
Right? She hits me up today. She's like, listen, I'm embarrassed, but I need some help.
Well, what?
I'm like, what's up? She tells me this story about like, oh, she told her boyfriend that she was texting me about something. Da-da-da. She wasn't texting me. Apparently, she was texting somebody else. And I'm like, oh, no, that's a no. Like, no.
What did she want you to do?
She wanted him to be able to call me and me verify. Yeah, it was me.
She wanted you to lie for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
She wanted me to lie for her.
And you said nah.
Nah.
Because I ain't even heard from your ass.
And
would you have done it?
No.
For someone else?
No.
Okay. Oh, so I can't call you and be like, tell them I was at your podcast.
Here's the thing. If you decide to do your dirt all by your lonely and get into your fuckery, don't muddy me up after the fact. Right? And to your point, especially since I ain't heard from you since whenever. Right? And I also know that after I lie for you, I'm not going to hear from you. Because, all right, you're going to go back to that and y'all going to do your thing, da-da-da. So, like, this is not even, our friendship isn't even happening in this scenario.
Right.
You know
How did she respond to your no?
Respectfully.
Oh.
I told her no with love and respect, with all love and respect. And she was like, respect. And then that's it. And
so I've had some very interesting times with no's.
Yeah. And it's like, but for you, it's a no. And if it was a yes, you would say yes, and you'd say yes quickly. You know what I mean? And so...
See, I don't know how to say no a lot of times.
Oh.
I fight it a lot.
Okay.
Because I want to help.
Yeah.
My heart is in wanting to help.
Yeah.
But I also stretch myself out too thin.
Yeah.
And I would have said yes to 5 people. And now I'm like, oh shit, I done told 5 people yes, and they're all on the same day.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, and I'm trying to like. Right. I had been a pleaser for a long time.
Right.
And I have learned to say no as I gotten older.
Right.
Or like I would love to, but I can't, unfortunately.
Right.
Like maybe I can tell someone else.
Right.
Who can do it.
Yeah.
You know, but usually they want to try to get you so you can do it for cheap.
Yeah.
Or do it for free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because you're going to pay somebody else. Nope, you're not doing me like that.
Yep.
No, here's my rate.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, but for me, and I'm curious to hear your perspective on this. When it's those times where you're asking for something, right? You're also not counting up the things that have made you worthy of this ask up to this point. You have no idea the weight and the worthiness of what you did on this day and what you did in this place and the way you carried their dignity and like all these things that you might have done that made that yes such a fast and easy yes. You know what I mean? You're just counting the ask in that moment. But the yes is such like she was so ready for you to say the ask because the yes was already in. But you was like, you know, you're not out here doing stuff in case
Right.
a Soul Train Awards ticket come around.
Right. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Right.
All I heard was Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
And I could have been there.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. But it's like, it's such a powerful thing to know
Oh, yeah.
that if I am who I believe myself to be, if I am a good person, then it'll show up in the yeses I get.
Mm-hmm.
And when it shows up as a no, it's not because I'm not a good person.
Right.
It's like I'm not owed every yes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But don't let me be the one not asking, because there's a lot of yeses for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I also had, well, I hate this. let me shut up. I should probably put this down.
Oh.
That's what I should do. But I think,
As I reach for another
right.
sip.
I just, like I said, I had to get comfortable with asking for help for things. I wasn't really, well, I'll tell you this because I wrote about this, that I had an experience where I needed help. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to the one person who I thought I could ask for help. Yep. And when I got denied that help, it changed me. I no longer was going to ask anyone for anything ever. Yeah. I don't think you understand how this changed my life in this way. Right. And I hate it too, because the person is near and dear, special, love. But when I got that no, and it was the only yes I knew I had in the bag, I said, well, if she can tell me no,
right. Yeah.
Who is gonna say yes?
Yeah.
I'm never asking again. Right. Never. Right. And I had been in so many situations where I needed the help. I was gonna do it on my own. Right. I was gonna figure it out. I ain't asking nobody for nothing. You would never. I mean, I don't even think you even realize how hard it was for me to ask of your help, because I was still. It still is a learned behavior that I'm trying to change and be actively aware that, relax, Isaam, you can ask. Yeah. And there's things that I would ask of people that I think are small. Like if I call someone and be like, oh, you want to be on the next episode of Gay Code? I will hit people up when they DM left and right. I don't care how big your star is. Right. I'm going to ask you. Right. You can just say no or yes. Because I'm so used to it in that work capacity, but in the real life capacity, it's very different. Yeah. Very different in real life who I extend and ask.
Yeah. I mean, there is a school of thought that I like that says the yeses don't come from these people, they come through these people. And so if it comes back a no, it's just a no through that person. Right. But it's not necessarily no.
Right. That's a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. Because, if you don't come from an active network of resource and options, then you'll be in a space where it's like, I know where my one yes is. And the fucked up thing is you believe there's only one yes and it's only in one place.
Ain't it fucked up?
Yeah.
Because let's talk about New York real quick, right?
Okay.
Because if I were to say where my yeses would be, I feel confident in a few. Okay. I do feel confident in a few. Yeah. I feel like we don't make it a habit of asking each other of things in the city of Newark. I feel like everybody is kind of like working on their thing and doing their own shit. Okay. I feel like I rarely ever hear someone say, Isaam, I really need a favor from you. I don't think anyone has ever called me and said, I need a favor. Okay. Could you help me with something real quick? I've never really heard that in Newark.
Really?
Never.
Okay.
And the thing is, because I love collaboration and I love where I live and the people who are around me doing creative work and great work. Yeah. That if someone called me and said, I need you. Yeah. I'd be like, what do you need?
Right.
Now, if you pussyfoot around a need or around the eyes, I'm like, it's a waste of my time. What is it? What do you need? What do you want?
Right.
Now I'm not even interested no more. I'm over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really get. I feel like I don't really get asked to do much of anything in Newark.
Huh.
I don't always feel support in Newark.
Yeah.
I don't.
You're not supposed to. You're home.
Yeah, it don't feel like.
You're not supposed to feel it here.
I feel like I've seen people come in here from all over.
Yeah.
And feel like people rally around. I don't feel the support in Newark.
Yeah, but again, you would go to another city and be active in a different way because you would feel like it's an uphill climb over there. You feel like it's a lateral move over here.
I
like
don't.
Partnership and collaboration and.
But I want to do so much more in here in Newark.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I feel well. Maybe this. Let me not unpack this right now.
Okay. Fair enough.
This is a whole nother topic on a whole nother day.
But man, this is something that, like, I'll tell you, for me, it's been such a powerful and profound lesson for me that my own, and this gets into something else I'm going to ask you about, ambition. My own ambition has been, in some instances, what has limited my growth and expression. And it's like, because I think of ambition as a thing that fuels growth. The issue is, my ambition is something that I've seen as a tool of mine, right? So the growth and the expansion is something that I've always been able to measure when I'm using my own ambition. Then somebody else comes along and says something to me that encourages me or inspires me, or, depending on what it is, scares me, because it's like, oh shit, my ambition didn't even reach that far. And they're like, yo, you could do da 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 da. And I'm like, shit. And it's like, the idea is, again, my ambition has limited me to only see it come in a certain trajectory. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like today, my sister and a friend of hers reached out to me about Nina's All Naturals. And it was from something that I shared with them that I want to do with Nina's All Naturals. And she kind of relayed back to me the depth of what I'm talking about beyond what I saw.
Okay.
And once I heard it, it scared me a little bit, because it was like, oh, this is way more powerful than the concept that I had in mind. This is soul touching for each individual. It's not about Nina's All Naturals. It's not about Tehsuan. It's not about his story. It's not about my anything. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you the details when off camera, because it ain't that interesting. But the idea is like, that part scared me to the degree that it was like, oh, if I don't actualize this, if I don't move forward with this, if I don't cooperate with this, I will be doing a disservice to my own story and to the purpose that this thing can actually serve outside of what my vision was for it. You know what I mean? And so I've learned to appreciate more and more that, like, I'm in the driver's seat. I'm in the cockpit of my things. You know what I mean? But sometimes there's somebody in the tower, and I gotta appreciate those people. They're not co-pilots. Sometimes it's like it's the racetrack and it's the guy that's in the pit. They're not in the car with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm looking for a co-pilot. Sometimes I'm looking for a side seat passenger to rock with me on a thing. And it's like, no, you the driver, drive your thing. You the pilot, pilot your thing. But you do have people who have a vantage point and a perspective and an understanding that are willing to give you information, access, and resources that you would not gather on your own. And they'll give it to you freely, not just so you don't crash, so that you win. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I have to respectfully and honorably work with those people in those positions, mm-hmm. and not keep looking for co-pilots. You know what I'm saying? Because like that's been my default. I'm trying to make a partner out of everybody. You know, and it's like that's not how this thing goes, and that's not true to the possibility of my dream even. You know what I'm saying? So my question to you is, what is your relationship with ambition?
I feel like I have I would like to think a healthy relationship with ambition.
Okay.
Because, so as a young kid, being an art magnet, which anyone knows art magnet, it's, you know, if you know art magnet, you know art magnet, right? I'm not going to define it, but like I said, I used to, you know, win a lot of contests, and I had a lot of ambition in terms of how I wanted to push myself as an artist and a creator, and at one point, I had a hard time being ambitious because I was, like I said, dimming lights and not comfortable in success in that kind of way that it really made it hard for me to do it. Because I'm like, if I'm going to do it, you know I'm going to win. Yeah. You know I'm going to succeed, right? I think the fear of success has always been an issue for me because when I would succeed, I would always get some kind of backlash. It was always something negative that came with that. Yeah. So it seemed like as ambitious as I was, there was a part of me, so it was just two sides of me, right? The part of me that was ambitious and want to do all the great things, and the other side of me was like, you know, if you do that right, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Right.
Just do enough.
Yeah.
Just do enough.
Right.
Go like right here. Don't go above and beyond. Don't stand out. Like I have been battling the not standing out my entire life. Okay. Like whether that be I'm the tallest in the class, whether it be I'm the lightest in the class, whether it be I'm the gayest in the class. Pick something. I was that of the class. Yep. And so I was always trying to blend in. Blending in had dampened my ambition a little bit. Yeah. Because I think naturally I was ambitious as an artist, and I'm a natural creative. Like it just pours out of me. No matter what I'm doing, I'm thinking of all the things, right? I had to really like reel it in because of all this other trauma and shit that I was dealing with that just didn't really allow for me to be the ambitious person that I know I am. Yeah. Like it wasn't really until, like I said, 40's changed a lot of things. And I know people say 40 gives you a I don't give a fuck what anyone has to say attitude because I've made it here. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've made it here and I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't know why I was worried about y'all. Right. 40 did that for me. And sorry, I'm burping. My ambition took a second to kind of kick back in. Okay. Because when I was grieving, like, and also when 40 came, when I didn't give a fuck, everybody died. Right. So now I don't give a fuck, but now I gotta grieve. And now I'm grieving. Yep. And so now that I don't give a fuck, and I can really be the ambitious, full version of me. Right. I'm dealing with this other thing that's holding me back and weighing me down. Yep. And now I'm finally getting to the place where I can forge ahead, and not even just forge ahead in my own and be my own pilot, but I can see the person in the watchtower and ask, like, what what direction should I like? I mean, without me having to go into my full life story, there have been so many things placed in my life that has dictated who I became as an adult.
Yeah.
And I have been trying to like
Yeah.
understand it for years before I really changed it.
Yep.
And I think for me at least, nothing was going to change until I understood it. And fortunately for me, I was already wrapping my mind around ideas and things. Okay. And so when I got to a certain point, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Damn, that's what I've been doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, now what can I do to change that? Or how can I think differently so that I can move forward and be proactive and succeed?
Yeah.
Right? So that my ambition can meet all those other things that have been holding me back. Like, I don't need those things holding me back anymore. Like, I have to move forward. And this is the only way for me to do it.
Yeah.
So my relationship with ambition has been, I think, what most people, like, it's like trial and error, like trying to like figure it out in the whole process. Right. But like, I mean, I'm just looking forward to what the next chapter of things looks like. Yeah. You know, I'm saying yes more. Mm-hmm. I am reaching out more. Mm-hmm. I am collaborating more. Mm-hmm. I'm asking for help more. I'm doing all the things necessary that meet my level of ambition so that I can succeed. And I think before that would have been an issue for me, which is what has kind of kept me.
Got you.
Right here. Somebody called me a silent killer. Like, oh, you do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But. Yeah. And I was like, no, I know what you mean.
Right.
Say less. I already know what you mean.
Right.
I already know.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I'm in a space where I want to do all the things, and I want to stand in pride in all the things that I'm doing, and not have to worry about all the other things that used to come with it. Yeah. So my relationship with ambition has evolved, and it's only getting better.
Yeah. It's like sometimes I can picture it like in my younger years, ambition was the engine, and then as I've grown and matured, ambition becomes the transmission. And it's like, it's not just this force, this brute force thing. It's you know, I get through gears by way of ambition, but like, I don't need to be in fourth gear all the time. Yeah. And I don't drive in first gear when I should be in fourth gear.
See, all these driving references, and I don't drive. What? No, I'm joking. I know what
like, you know what I'm saying? The idea of like, I read this concept. It's funny. I have a book for you to check out. I'll get you a copy of it. But I'm reading this book, and I'm using ChatGPT to help me speak to me. So like I would copy and paste a passage of the book into ChatGPT and then tell it, read this back to me in the voice of Dave Chappelle. Not read it back to me, unpack it for me in the voice of Dave Chappelle. Unpack it for me in the voice of who.
It can do that?
Absolutely. And then
I need you to do this for me as an example.
I got you.
What?
Yes.
I mean, I do use ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT.
Yeah. I'm gonna show it to you. It's clutch. It's clutch.
Oh wow.
But the concept for one of these passages came back was like, some people are Lamborghinis and they riding around like they Toyotas. And it doesn't matter how fast you drive yourself if you think you're a Toyota. Because you're a Lamborghini this whole time.
Are you calling me a Lamborghini?
You are a Lamborghini for sure. For sure. And it's like, give yourself the permission to be a Lamborghini. Right. Which means, yes, my engine is this strong and I go this fast and da-da-da. But also, I ain't got no backseat. Yeah, my paint colors are bright. Yeah, the engine is loud. Yeah, everybody looks at me when I'm on the scene. That's just what it is to be a Lamborghini.
You better speak my life.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not out here trying to Toyota myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And with a Lamborghini, it doesn't matter if it hasn't been to the car wash in a while. None of that stuff changes that it's a Lamborghini.
Right.
You can't dim it. You can't, you know what I'm saying? And so for some of us, the idea is, have I accepted my own Lamborghini-ness? Have I accepted it as a truth? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that, I'm the Lamborghini and everybody else is a Toyota.
Right, right.
But if I'm a Lamborghini, I'm a Lamborghini.
Right. Y'all could be mad at Lamborghinis too.
Right.
We be in a car lot together.
Nobody else is.
An elite car lot.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. We come down the highway together.
Right.
But like, I have to accept the truth of my own ness, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so hard.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work. It's a practice.
Here's the thing though. A lot of the difficulty, a lot of the reason why it's so hard is because there is so much energy and effort put into telling you that you're a Toyota. Mm-hmm. And telling you that life is better as a Toyota. Mm-hmm. Just be cool with the cup holders, man. Come on. We ain't got to be about all that other. Like, come on, get you some cup holders, man. You want some heated seats? You get some heated seats. We'll call it a Lexus.
Listen, you preaching to the choir. Like I wrote a book about it.
Yeah. Word.
Because that has been my experience. That's been my experience. So
yeah,
I don't walk around. Mm-hmm. I don't think I walk around like a Lamborghini. I think maybe I do walk around like a Toyota because everybody else is fucking Toyotas. But when that Lamborghini come by, everybody take notice. Right. And I never wanted to be the thing that everyone took notice to because I had always been trying to like blend in. Right. That it took years for me to be like,
yeah.
No, I can do that.
Because you're getting the looks already. You getting them anyway. You're not getting Toyota looks. They're staring at you. You know what I'm saying? We don't stare at Toyotas.
Yeah, but you know the weird thing about stares is that because I was stared at for multiple reasons. Yeah. It made it hard to realize that somebody may be going, oh, that's a fucking Lamborghini that I'm looking at right now. Yeah. They was looking at a lot of things in my packaging that made me uncomfortable with stares. Yes. And not in a flattering way. It made those stares, like I write about there's a portion in a book where I write about me being confused by what the stares were about. Mm-hmm. Were they about, oh my God, that's such and such? Yeah. Or was it, they see that I'm gay?
Yeah, hey, y'all, look at this. Yeah,
they looking at me because they see me. They see the gay in me that I'm trying to hide so much. Right, okay. So I didn't know how to decipher what it was. Right. And so I just wanted to kind of like hide even more. Right. And not really, fly the way I should have been flying at that time. Yep. But no, I get it. Yeah. Man, it's tough.
Yeah. Now here's the flip question. What's your relationship with gratitude?
It's evolved, just like my relationship with ambition, right? Because my relationship with a lot of things has evolved and changed as I change and learn new things. I think because I have been writing this book, which I hate that I keep. My life for the last 2 years has been like, what I'm writing about in my book, or oh my God, I just wrote in my book. Right. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but it has made me look at my life's journey with a gratitude that I could never have looked at it when I was in those spaces. Right. I never could have experienced my relationship with my father the way I had. Right. With my mother, with my community, with my partners, with my creative side of my life. I never could have looked at those things the way I look at it now. Yeah. grief. The fact that I have lived so many lives. Like, you would think that I'm way much older. Okay. I have lived a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And all of it has shaped who I've become and who's sitting here with you right now. And I'm very proud of who I've become. Yeah. And I'm very grateful for those experiences that I went through that shaped and made all of this. Yep. I didn't know at the time that I could handle it. You know, you think things happen to you that you'd break. You know, some people do.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Right.
And it just made me a stronger, better person. And I think before my father passed away, I wanted to. This is. It's so sad. I talk about my father, I cry. Okay. I wanted him to know that despite his absence, or with his absence, this person came to be. Yeah. And I can only be grateful for that. Right. Like whatever his contribution would have been if he was in my life every day, I probably would be a different person.
Yeah.
But I'm better because I didn't get better.
Right.
And so that in itself makes me grateful. Yeah. So I try to keep that attitude with most things, that there is a positive spin to it all. Yeah. And most of the time I can walk away with gratitude for any experience with a person, place, or thing that I can go, no, I know that happened for me. Yeah. It wasn't just happening to me.
Right.
It happened for me.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for it. And I think the more I say it out loud, the better I feel about it. Because I think we all go through things and we're trying to process it and we're trying to make sense of it all. Yeah. And you don't realize that what you're experiencing is gratitude. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Right.
This.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Now, you know, there's hard shit that people have gone through. Much harder than what I probably would tell you. Yeah. But I think even them, they can sit and say, damn, when that happened to me, that pushed me into the field of such and such. And now I'm an advocate. I'm an ally. I do these work for all these kids now where I had no one. Yeah. You know, like there is a place for it all. The gratitude can exist in almost every single thing that we do, every experience that we have. Right. So I think I'm in a space now where I can find the gratitude, where I think before it might have been a little harder for me to really realize what it was.
Yeah, they say about like heroes and villains that they have the same backstory. It's just that the villain wants other people to hurt the way they hurt, and the hero wants nobody to hurt the way they hurt. Right. So it's like that's why Batman spends his whole hero career is beating up hooligans and like, cause like that's who killed his parents in the alley. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
I'm a superhero. and a Lamborghini.
And a Lamborghini.
And a Lamborghini.
Right. All right, last question. What is your relationship with death?
Oh God. Really? That's where we going with
this?
I
mean, yes.
What is my relationship with death? Oh, God. So I think the first time I experienced death, I was about 9 years old. I had an aunt who had contracted HIV. Okay. And we just kind of like, this is the time when people were getting it, and you would just see them dying. And so I saw that early, and my relationship with I hated this about my relationship with death because I always put how I felt about death on the back burner. Yeah. I always pushed other people's feelings and how they were managing death to the forefront. And I wanted to be there to be a support for them. Yeah. And then I would go home, cry, process it, do what I need to do. But I was always a pillar of strength around death until death, you know, as we get older, death gets closer and closer and closer to our loved ones and friends, and we start seeing more and more people die. And so when that changed, And now it wasn't an aunt or a cousin or somebody on my mama's side that's like really a third, fourth cousin, but I look at them as a first. Now it's my father. Now it's my first cousin. Now it's my best friend. Which all of those hit me simultaneously back to back, which really made me sit in how I view death, right? Like I had a lot of questions in my mind about what I was experiencing and how I wanted to experience it and what was supposed to be happening. I didn't know. I was confused because I never really got a chance to grieve because this is also during COVID. So now somebody dying almost every other week.
Yeah.
Every other week before you can grieve.
Right.
Put that on pause, somebody else dead.
Right.
Put that on pause, somebody else dead. Put that on pause, someone else dead. And then a few, maybe 2 years went by where it was kind of silent. And then one of my best friends dies. And every death that came before that landed on the same plate as hers. Because now I had to sit in what grief was. I had to really mourn everything because I had been managing it because I had to move on to the next one. There was no moving on. No one else died after her. It was still for a long time. And so I had to really, really sit in death. I even hate saying the word because I remember I did a play one time and they were like, "You're not saying death." I still don't know I'm saying it right. They say I say it like you're deaf. But they sound the same to me. So that's how I say it. I'd like to think I have not a healthy relationship, but as healthy as it could be because I experienced it so young that I learned how to manage how I felt about it, which meant to me at an age was save it for when you get home. Let other people grieve, be support, go home, cry, process it, think about it when you get home. And that didn't really serve me well. If anything, it made me isolate even more. And I'm a dive in. Dive in. If you sad, be sad as fuck.
Okay.
Like cry. Put on the shit that's gonna make you cry. Like I would sit in my room and I know songs that I could put on right now, I'll be bawling. I would put those songs on and be in my room crying because I wanted to accept it. Like I was like trying to like go through all the stages of grief. In my room. By myself. I wanted to face it and be like, listen, them motherfuckers dead. I would tell myself so many different ways. I would be sad about like, oh, they dead. They dead. Like I would be going through all the emotions of just to kind of like get to a comfort with what was.
An acceptance.
And accept it. So, I mean, I think anyone who knows me, who knows what I've been through in the last 4 years would be like, Isaam a G. I don't even know how he's standing. And I'm like, well, death is inevitable. Like it's going to happen. I think what changed was that I was holding on to how I felt about myself with those people. Right? And I didn't know if I can be that in front of everyone.
Right.
And so when I had to decide that I can be all those things, and I'll be fine, I'll be okay. I want to honor them by being those things. And so I think it was in the knowing that I need to honor them. Right, like their life meant something, and it can't be like an anecdote or like a reason to cry and be like, "Oh, I loved her so much, isn't that so sad?" I'm like, no, that bitch was a ball of energy. She was pure love. She loved everyone. She made everybody feel amazing. I want to do that. I want to pass that memory of her on, that she didn't live or he didn't live in vain. Like even the worst parts of my father, there were a lot of amazing parts of my father that I'm like, I can be better even in your death. Like there was, I'm not even gonna hold you. There were times I was like, my father died, I wouldn't even care. Wouldn't even care. When he died, It was a lie.
Yeah.
I was managing my frustration of years of my father's shit. When my father died, you would have thought someone stabbed me in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I have never. When my father died, my godmother died, my cousin, and when my friend Mia died, you would have thought someone was stabbing me multiple times.
Yeah.
I was screaming out loud and how hard I was crying. I have never cried like this in my entire life, ever. I was like, "What is like this? Is
what is happening? What is
that?" That to me showed just how much love was being held for those people. That my heart was hurting that way.
Yeah.
It took a huge toll out of me. I was not myself for 2 and some change.
Yeah.
2, maybe 3 years. I couldn't imagine doing anything. It was as if the world stopped, but it couldn't stop because I had to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still got other friends
Right.
who lean on me and family that need
Relatives,
me. I couldn't stop, right? So I had to find a way to push through.
Yeah.
And death is a hard motherfucker.
Yes, indeed.
It never gets easier. And I think as we get older and we make stronger connections with people and people mean that much to us, it gets tougher. But I at least know now that 1 is going to happen, and 2, I want to celebrate who they were.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to look at all the things that made that person who they were.
Yeah.
And go, I'm glad that you were placed there for me because I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed to learn that from you. And now that you are gone, I'm going to continue to do that even more.
Yeah.
So my relationship with death, it has, like I said, evolved, and I think it will continue to evolve because they're still even closer people. Like I think those motherfuckers was close. I got people in my life now that.
Yep.
So, and I want to take that same attitude and apply it to those things because the time is going to come.
Yeah.
The time is going to come.
Absolutely.
And I ain't even going to mention if I die.
Right.
Because if I die next year, next month, I don't want y'all replaying this video. I remember when he talked about what he wanted when he died. Nope, because I'm never dying. Oh, now you want to use that. Don't even include that. Please, do me a favor. Do not even include me talking about me dying. Because I don't even want to see or hear that.
I got you.
But, it almost took me out. Death almost took me out.
It's thank you for sharing that. And it kind of in this reverse way exposes what my valuation of life is in those people's lives. You know what I mean? Like, because when you have somebody, as long as you have them, you can't really evaluate and quantify that life to you. You know it's enormous, but as long as you got it, you ain't got to count it. And then when people pass, it's like, oh, I can count all of the instances, experiences, opportunities that now look different than they would have if so-and-so was here. You know what I'm saying? And like I can count now because it's all minus. I count because it's subtraction happening. You know what I'm saying? And the appreciation, like you said, for these people, their expressions of life, comprehensively and composite expressions, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, and otherwise, gives an appreciation for what life actually is and what life actually costs. Because the beauty of these people, the awesome of these people came at a cost to themselves and to others. You know what I mean? And I happen to be one of those others. You know what I'm saying? And I get, I've received perspective on loving their life in their death. Because that's what grief is. Grief, it's not, I'm not defining grief for the record. But a way to look at grief is a disconnect between what you love and seeing it as life. And it's like, no, what you love is the life of that person and what they expressed with that life and what that created and changed in you, in your life. Like it's the love of life that makes grief so powerful. You know what I mean? I love who I am with so and so. But if they not here, am I that person? Because I ain't that person with everybody. And I might not be that person with nobody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I love that person. And I love them with other people and how, like you said, this person was a ball of energy and love and light, which means that I got to see other people radiate love and light and goodness just as a reflection of being in their company.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got to see other people be smitten with that person's existence, you know? And like you said, now I get to honor that. And I'm in a place of privilege because everybody don't know that person the way I knew that person or know that person. Everybody don't got these jewels that I got by way of that person. So I get to honor that person and I get to express in my own life the things I learned and observed and experienced from that person. It's like I wouldn't be doing this if they were still here. You know what I mean? So it's like death and our relationships with death, I believe, are just the yang to our relationship with life. Ours and others, you know? And because of that, there is good that comes out of the pain of death and the grieving. There is awesomeness. There is elevation. Like you do have opportunity to be better than you would have been otherwise because now you're like, no, I gotta honor so-and-so. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm gonna be a better Tehsuan than I would have otherwise. And yeah, I'll leave it there.
Right, please.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying so hard not to cry.
I got you.
You have no.
I got you.
Listen, I have a coworker who was talking about death recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, I said, give her a show. Show her all that she knew you could be. Yes. Give her something worth watching. Like, she don't want to see your ass in your room crying all goddamn day.
Right.
Like, that's not the show she wants. She's going to go visit someone else because you're not doing it. Like, it's all been in vain.
Yeah.
Like, and I just like, nah, you know what? Because I remember when the last death that I had, I think I did the VMAs. And it was really hard for me to say yes. Because I'm like, oh God, do I want to turn this on or do I want to see this as a blessing that she bestowed upon me because she's like, this is what you need to be doing. Now go in there and fuck that shit up. And I'm like, I'm going to go in there and fuck that shit up. You know what? I'm going to go do that. And I think at least for the beginning of my grief, I was really trying to push myself when I wasn't ready. And I had to kind of like, I stepped forward to take several steps back because I was like, just know that you're capable. That when the time is right,
it'll be there.
You're going to take 10 steps forward. But just don't waste your time. Like you get a few days to grieve or cry, but leave it there and then move forward. Because I was always, I always felt that people around you give you like an expiration date on how long you can grieve. And so a lot of times you don't even want to share that you're still struggling.
Yeah.
And there had been, I don't know how much time had went by that, like, it still affects me.
Yes.
And I don't always want to have to say that it affects me because
Right.
I know my friends is like,
Yeah.
you still crying about this? And I'm
Right.
like, you don't know
Right.
because you haven't experienced it
Yeah.
yet. But your time will come and you'll see
Yeah.
that it's just about management, how I manage it.
Yep.
It's always, grieving never ends.
Yeah.
You will have it for the rest of your life. You're just going to manage it differently and
Yeah.
you're going to move forward
Yep.
and things will be great. But there will be a time when you're like, okay, no, I need to honor that right there fucked me all the way up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to honor him, whoever, by crying my eyes out. I was watching a movie the other day and my boyfriend, poor thing, we watched the movie. I had to pull the cover over my head because it just made me cry hysterically.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think because of COVID and the deaths happening during COVID, a lot of funerals weren't able to happen.
Yeah.
So when my father had passed, he was cremated and gone before I even knew that he was dead. And so we never got a chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And so luckily in writing this, back to writing this book, I'm able to, I've eulogized my father in the book. In a way, I've eulogized all the key people in my life that shaped who I became as an adult, and that were crucial to my development. And so I'm just glad that I can show gratitude for them in this way, and also talk about the grieving that needs to happen in order for there to be change and all those things that need to happen. So yeah, grieving never ends. Death will always come.
Right.
And it'll trigger. And if you don't really deal with grief, death just continues to trigger the last death, the death before that. Like I know people in my family who are still grieving people who died in 1990. They're like, Christmas will never be the same. They're not here. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm here. So you mean Christmas can't be good? Like, let's make it something else. It don't have to be what it was in 1990. I mean, and I don't want to miss opportunities with other friends, other family, because I'm holding on to death.
Yes.
I want to celebrate life as well and celebrate their lives by including parts of who they were in my life today. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, cheers, man, to life.
Cheers to life.
Yes, indeed.
Jesus, Lord.